Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another website audit. If you're new here, my name is Jess, and I have been a website designer for 13 years. And each week, I go live and give feedback on someone's website. Now, these people have volunteered. I'm not just choosing random people off the internet to critique. So this week, we are looking at Roxana's website. So let's dive in. If you have any questions as you're watching, let me know down in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, I'm happy to clarify or give any, extra details. So this is the top of Roxana's web homepage. And while I love this photo of her, it's a very good photo. Obviously, she's like in the produce section. I think this is great because she is a media dietitian. She's a spokesperson. So, working with brands, like she's holding products. Obviously, there's not like a brand specifically being shown, but I think this is a great photo. The issue is it's very hard to see her logo up in the top corner, very hard to see the navigation up here, and even hard to read what's here on top of the photo. So, first, we need to make sure that navigation bar has a solid color behind it instead of just the image being up there. And then I've mentioned this before in other videos. If you haven't seen them, I'm always, always, always recommending that what you have in your first banner on the homepage does not need to be your name, business name, whatever, because it's already typically in your domain, but it's also very typically up in the navigation bar with like your logo. So this is wasting space. We really want to put your brand forward and make sure your messaging is very clear. And so often for dietitians that are working with clients, this is easier because it's like I help women with PCOS manage their symptoms or something very clear, very direct. When it comes to being a media expert and spokesperson, that can sometimes be a little bit more tricky, but you need to just think about what are the benefits that the brands are going to see working with you, partnering with you to help you spread awareness of their brand and their products. And so coming up with something like that to put here instead of just your name. I also think this image is maybe a little bit too tall. It's taking up the entire screen as I'm sitting here on the homepage. So I'd like to see it a little bit shorter. I have a feeling it might be this just because of the default settings and the theme, or maybe you just wanted to show like I know if you make it shorter, you might like cut off the carrots or something. So you might have to play around with the settings or a different picture, but that's one of the first things. Now you can see as I scroll, now you see a color background behind the navigation. I would like that to be there all the time, not just after we scroll. So then we scroll down, we have another picture, a little like about me section, and then you can see all the brands she has worked with. This is great. There's lots of good brands here. Even though you are a media dietitian, I would either do just one line with some of like maybe your favorite brands or ones that are like the most notable, or have a kind of moving, rotating scrolling bar of all these logos. Because this is just like a big chunk taking up your homepage. And while it is good social proof, it shows the work you've done. It just can look a little cluttered and messy, and it's just taking up a large chunk. I also, again, even though you are the brand, you are the focus, the spokesperson, I would like to reposition this copy here to be focused more again on like expanding whatever we kind of mention here in the headline to be more about this is why you should work with me. And this is why I'm the person to work with your brand, not just here's my experience and like what I do, that kind of thing. We can read about that on the about page. It's not that this is bad information, but here I want us to get more engaging content to really hook those brands. Um, and then down here we have your services. So, spokesperson, recipe development, speaking, nutrition counseling. So, it looks like you're not just media dietitian, but you also do client work. Obviously, she is really putting the brand part first, which I love because based on what I'm seeing, that's she is prioritizing the brand partnerships part of her business. And I always tell my clients, if you have multiple services, you want to make sure that you are prioritizing whichever service, offer, program, product, whatever, make that the front and center, like center your messaging around that so your brand becomes more known for that. Um, Even if you have multiple offers and things. I would like to see this um, done more visually interesting and not just one column with pictures. I have a feeling this is probably just a theme kind of restriction that might be the issue here. Um, I like that they are pictures of you. They're good pictures. I I think that's good. The heading, the little blurb, like all of that's great. But I think instead of just a column, one after another, maybe like two columns or something like that to keep people engaged. So I would also like to see buttons going to each of these pages because right now you're just telling me what they are without sending me anywhere. I can see as I'm hovering that I can click on the picture and go to that page, but sometimes people don't know that. They don't see that. And so they'll be like, well, okay, great. Now what? And so I would think about adding some buttons as well. So let's hop over to the about page. Now, this picture, again, now here's another example with the sizing or whatever the theme is doing. We can't fully see you. And so like we can only see like your head and then your knees and ankles. So I would change the photo here or do a different layout or something. Um, and then this is just a lot of text. And so, again, adding more visual interest, breaking up the text, because this is all good information. It talks about your experience, your credentials, all good information that we want to see on About page, but we want to present it in such a way that makes it more interesting. People want to read it, they want to stay engaged and not just like, okay, great, whatever. Also, I'm noticing on the homepage and here that your text is all center aligned. And I've mentioned this before, but we always want our text to be left aligned. It's much easier to read. Um, and so that would be a small little switch there. Then we have your media page. So this is great. Anybody who wants more media, more press, you want to have a media page so that people know this is something you do. So I love this. And all the links as well. I would probably, there are ways you can, I have other clients who have just as many links as you do down here. There are ways that you can condense this using like accordions or anything like that. Yes, this is good for social proof, but obviously, like, no one's probably clicking through every single one of these links. So, you can also think about if any of these websites, sometimes they will have like author pages where if you've contributed and they have lots of authors, you can like click on Roxana's author page and Jessica's and Amy's and go see all of the articles they've written. So rather than having every article separate for like eat this, not that, you could just link to the author page there. So that's an option as well. Because it's not that we just want to delete all these links, but there are other ways we can kind of display them. Same with the videos. I would probably do some different arrangements and think about um, which ones I want to prioritize. And then maybe we have the others just on your YouTube channel and a button that says, like, see all of my interviews and segments here so that people can see that. Because, again, is anybody going to sit here and click on every single video to watch? Maybe not. And so we want to prioritize which ones present you in the best light as a media spokesperson. I know it's tempting to be like, I have to have every single link, every single interview on the website so people see it. Not necessarily the case. Some we can have and then like send them to YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. Um, so that would be something to consider. And then let's go over to, since the media seems to be the primary focus, I want to look at this. Now, the navigation bar has disappeared, or the background color has disappeared. So that might be just like a glitch, or maybe because I'm screen sharing. But um, so this page is pretty short. I would like to see, this is where we could insert some more videos. Maybe we have some videos of on the in the media and then some here. Also, if you are doing any social media content, you mention videos, handouts, infographics, all this kind of stuff. I would want to see some more images, screenshots, anything to show these are all the ways I can work with your brand. Because right now I see 3 pictures and some text. I think you're underselling yourself here because you've worked with some really big brands, you've done a lot of things, and this I feel like is just really underselling you. Now, you are saying like go to the media page to like see all this, but I think we can do both. I think we can have both here and on this page talking a little more specifically about how you like options. I know you do mention like videos, handouts, la la la, but really being specific in like, I really want to do more of X type of content. So maybe you really prioritize and highlight that, like, I do Instagram videos, YouTube, whatever. I can do video series, like being more specific so that the brands know. I know some creators and spokespeople don't love to list pricing. That can be tricky with brands because obviously there's different budgets and like packages and things that they want, but you could consider having like a starting at price or something of that nature. So something else to think about. Let's hop over to speaking engagements. Love that you have the popular topics. This is really good. Past clients. Would also like to see like a professional bio and headshot. That's something that's usually included on a speaking page. So I would love to see that here as well. I like that you have at least one video here. This, I don't know if this looks like you're making a recipe, so I might choose a different one where you're doing more speaking or something of that, educating, not just making a recipe. I feel like that would be a better fit on this page. And then recipe development. So this looks like, from my first impression, is just these are recipes you're making for yourself, not necessarily like, oh, I did recipe development for these brands or that kind of thing. So I would want to clarify here, and maybe this is accurate. Maybe you're like, I literally just make recipes for myself, for my audience, that kind of thing. Like it's not for brands. But if you're wanting to do that for brands or companies or whatever, I would want to talk about that on this page. Because when I've heard recipe development from other dietitians, I usually have heard it in terms of, oh, I'm doing this for this brand, this company, etc. Um, so but maybe it's different for you. So then we have recipes. This is great. Blog. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. And then contact. So here, this is not, to me, this is not a built out contact page. So I would want to see like some more information about who can reach out, things I'm open to, like reiterating that kind of information, see a picture of you, a contact form where people can select like, oh, I'm interested in, and they can select media, recipes, working one-on-one, any of that. Um, this is just very like short. And so I would want to make it a little more approachable. This could also, with having a contact form, can help with getting a more information up front from people, because often if people just have an email address, they will send an email that's just like, hey, I want to work with you nutrition counseling. Like, how can I work with you? And it's just a very short, you don't get background information, or like if it's a brand, they're like, we would love to have you XYZ, and you may not get all the information you want up front. Also, fun fact or not so fun fact, listing your email address, and this goes for anybody, listing your email address on your website like she is and like lots of people do, opens you up to so much spam email because bots will just crawl websites and grab email addresses and put it into whatever database tool thing, and then your email address gets sold and shared, and that's why people have 500 plus junk emails um, in their junk folder because they put their email out like this. So whenever clients or people come to me and they're like, I just get so much junk mail, like I don't know why. And I'm like, well, your email is just listed very loudly on your website, which makes it easy for bots to scrape that information. So, um, the last thing I want to mention is your SEO. So it looks like you've done a little bit of SEO. I'm still seeing it's hard for you to see in, I can't really show you on my screen, but I can see in the browser tab that it says home, Roxana, media dietitian, spokesperson. We want to remove the home or any of the page titles, same for about, in the media, anything like that. We want your keywords to be first in the SEO title, not at the end, because Google only shows so many characters in search results for page titles. And so I think it's like 65, 70-ish. And so after that, anything else after that gets cut off. And I would rather your name get cut off, not media dietitian or like nutrition spokesperson and that kind of thing. So just rearrange that so your keywords are at the beginning. That should help with your SEO a little bit. So that's all for this. I think a few tweaks, building out some things, making a little bit more meaty and that kind of thing would really help sell you better, present your brand better. But I think this is a pretty solid start. So again, if you have questions, let me know down in the comments, or if you want to volunteer to have your website reviewed, you can leave it down in the comments. Otherwise, I will see y'all next week for another audit.